Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slamhub Wrestling. Myself Suprit, and this is the AEW Dynamite review for December 9th, 2020. And I'm joined by Abishekh Aneja, aka Abby Maniac. What's up, Abby?
I am absolutely fine, Suprit. How about you?
I'm doing good. At least I'm doing better today compared to what I was doing yesterday. And about this week, I watched Impact Wrestling for the first time in 3 years. Can you believe that? We also saw
so,
some follow from that episode in this week's Dynamite. So, and overall, what did you think about Dynamite this week?
this week, I would like to say that in comparison to last week, it was uh, there's a word in Hindi, thanda, a little bit thanda, a little bit a letdown, but nonetheless, it was a good show. It was watchable, of course, and of course, there were many things which came to the fray. We had to listen to Sting for the first time in AEW on TNT, and of course, there were other things also on the show, the Dynamite Diamond Ring finals, and of course, Abadon now making a second stint being the number one contender for the women's championship. So there were a lot of things to look forward to in this episode.
So, regarding this week's Dynamite, we had the Young Bucks versus the Hybrid 2. We also had, like you said, Sting speaking for the first time here. And we had the Inner Circle Ultimatum. Also, in this show, we had a sit down interview with Shaq. And the main event was for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. It was MJF versus Orange Cassidy. And so much more. But before that, if you're new to this channel, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for all notifications. We here in Slam of Wrestling cover all pro wrestling related stuff, including reviews for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW Dynamite, and New Japan as well. So, first match of the night was the Young Bucks versus the Hybrid 2. Of course, it was a spot fest match, and I would like to get your thoughts. What did you think about this match?
As you said, it was a sport fest, obviously, and the fact that it is supposed to be a sport fest, in my opinion, that is that you have to start the show with a hot, a hot bout which is back and forth and spots, bam, 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 to get the fans invested and hot for the rest of the show. That is their basic purpose. And with regards to the Young Bucks, we know what they are capable of, obviously, and we also got to know about the last week's Young Bucks appearance. It was one of the highest rated segments on Dynamite. We got to know about that on BT, and it was rated higher than the Sting's debut, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, the Bucks hit a million.
So, yes. So, the fact that it is their style and we have to give that. Of course, it it is what it is. Backyard, outlaw, mud show
Oh,
bullshit,
come on.
whatever it is. But but nonetheless, it was supposed to be a spot fest. It is supposed to get the crowd riled up for the rest of the show, and it delivered on that. Both the teams equally competitive, and they were awesome at it.
So let's get to this first match here, the Young Bucks versus the Hybrid 2. So we had a little pre-match promo here where the Bucks said they will beat TS2 and send them to a super kick party. They also talked about Kenny Omega here, where they said they haven't talked to him since last week. So that was an interesting point that they made here. So so this match here, like we said, it went about 12 minutes and it was mostly a spot fest match. But the one they did a little bit of selling here. That was the main target of who was it? Nick? No. Matt Jackson's is injured leg, right?
Hmm. Yes.
So So the TS2 here, they blindsided the Bucks here. The Bucks answer with a drop kick. TS2 tripped the Bucks on the apron. Bucks with a stereo spears on the outside. Double team moves. Nick does a dive, and the Bucks are in full control. So double team on Evans. They try to do a double team on Angelico, but he resists. Angelico then picks up Matt in the firearms. So Evans tags in and hops on Matt and does a moonsault to Nick on the outside. That was a cool move there.
Yes, yes.
So back in, we see a assisted 450 from TS2. This gets a 2 count. So all four men were exchanging kicks and super kicks as everyone is down now. So tag made to Nick here. He makes his signature comeback. Evans was on the apron. Matt tried for a sunset bomb, but Evans held on to the ropes. So Nick super kicks. So Matt then sends Evans into the acclaim. So they were sitting ringside. Back in, Bucks hit the risky business. Evans back in as TS2 got some offense. So on the stage, Matt has Evans in the electric chair. Nick springboards and does a doomsday. So double super kicks to Enelico for a near fall. So more bang for your buck fails as Enelico gets the knees up. So Evans with a 450 to Nick on the outside. Enelico targets the injured leg of Matt. Dragon screws it and locks in his submission. So Evans tried to. Um, and Angelico had Matt Jackson in the submission. Evans was trying to block it, but in comes Nick Jackson. He does a swanton to break the submission. Evans tried to fight, but Evans tried to fight and went for a dive, but gets caught as the Bucks hit a Meltzer driver on the floor. So back in, the Bucks hit a double super kick to Angelico, and the BTE trigger gets them the win, and that was it.
I think that this was TH2's, you can say, one of their best matches on Dynamite, in my opinion.
Even better than the FTR match.
Um, I don't know. This is the fact that I have to be a little biased with regards to FTR, but the fact is, it was one of the best. It was one of the best, if not the best. But the fact is, it was a great performance of TH2. And with regards to this whole match, the story was that last week TH2 ambushed the Bucks when they were having a conversation with a newer tag team on the block, that is the Acclaimed, who were in the crowd scouting this week. On BTE, as we have just discussed, that their said segment last week was one of the, if not the highest rated segments of the night in the United States. SCU, Daniels and Kazarian came to the aid of the Bucks while TS2 and Acclaimed retreated last week. So they are also in the fray in this whole scenario. I have been a huge proponent for TH2. They have been a great tag team in Lucha Libre AAA. So I am very happy that they got this one-on-one opportunity against the champions, that is the Young Bucks. And Young Bucks enjoyed majority of the control in the initial part of this match. That moonsault that you just talked about, uh, by Jack Evans off the back of Matt Jackson, who was caught in the fireman's carry position by Angelico, was fucking insane. That if there were a crowd, they would have popped huge. It is an AEW crowd. Obviously, it would have popped huge. Not an WWE Raw crowd, obviously. And followed up by a backdrop foot storm combination by TS2 on Matt in the ring was also great. TS2 overall holistically gave a splendid performance, as I've just said. Unique combination maneuvers by Jack Evans and Angelico were a treat to watch. double super kick by Nick and Matt Jackson weren't enough at one point to stop them. At one point, I thought that it was just over when they hit the double super kick. It was a great competitive match, back and forth. BTE triggered did it finally for the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks, the champions, won via pinfall, and we would obviously like to see this match in the future, of course. And the referee for this match was PWG's own Rick Knox.
And also, they did a great job of not going the 50-50 booking strategy. Like, there was no way that TS2 was going to beat the Young Bucks for the titles.
Yes.
And another point, I think you also felt watching this match. The Bucks here were made to look more stronger. Like last week, for example, Cody in his match was made to look strong. So that was one problem that I didn't like it.
Yes, but I would agree. I would agree. They were looked to book strong, but it is also a thing that we are very much, you can say, prone, or I should say, adjusted to the WWE style. That is, that if a team is competing against them, then the champions should look a little weak. The other team should look a little strong. But the fact is that now you have to give a little props to the champs also, that they are a champion, or the champions in this case, for a fucking reason, that they are a superior tag team for a reason. And now you are building a promotion which is growing an audience. So if a new audience member is watching the show of yours, and he is watching the champions getting beat down by the challengers at a very, heavier position, that would mean that the champions are fucking foolish. Why are they champions? So that new audience member, that new fan of yours, should also see the champions, and he should see them as that this weak position of the champion is only momentary, that they would come back. And then they did. Obviously, the Young Bucks, any champion should book and should look strong, obviously. WWE has done a terrible job, and it is, they should do something about that. And now there are no new stars, except right now I am just hearing and reading about it, that is Roman Reigns. Except that, the last big star who did hit mainstream was probably CM Punk, John Cena, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the other people. Right now they have just failed to make new stars, and it is a lost cause probably.
So we had a post-match angle too, where the Acclaim tried to attack the Young Bucks until SCU came out for the save. So SCU versus Acclaim is booked for next week. Maybe they are trying to build up Acclaim for the Young Bucks.
Probably.
So from that we get to a Darby Allin video package. So we had a dude, he was showing some painted sketches here, as it represented all the members of Team Taz. So he spoke, so Darby Allin here spoke highly on Brian Cage. And then the last sketch was a Sting face paint. So Allen gave a big smile. So that is teasing a future Darby Allin Sting something, a match, manager, something.
Hmm. Probably. I don't think that uh, be a match probably, but at this point, obviously, because he is such a high flyer and a risky probably, and a style of a wrestler, that you shouldn't pose Sting right now in front of him to wrestle, that because he last time we saw him, he was injured, and the WWE doctors didn't, you know, gave him the go for competing in the ring. Meanwhile, the other doctors outside have, we have heard that rumors and in the news, of course. Right now, he should wrestle if if it is planned. Probably it is. We have heard that in the past week via the news outlets. He should wrestle, as I have said, with a safe wrestler that could be probably Cody Rhodes.
So we had a little MJF promo segment. He's mad that he doesn't have the diamond ring right now. So he calls Orange Cassidy's fans marks and also said he will prove to everyone that he's better than Cassidy. So we get to this Sting promo segment. We first had Cody Rhodes and Arn Anderson coming out. And before we get through it, is it just me, or did this entire segment came off little weak? Is it because it was pre-taped? Is it was some edited or the faked crowd noise, like the pumped crowd noise? Did this segment come off
Fake,
weak?
mm, probably, probably, probably. Fake crowd noise, yes, absolutely. Because if it were a live crowd, yes, absolutely. It would have been much, much better, obviously. Fake crowd noise does hurt the product. Yes, absolutely. But they are doing it because if there is no noise and the crowd there right now is not very much it, that it creates such a noise in that open area of Daly's place that it translates to television, then they are using the piped noise. So what can we say? It did hurt, obviously.
So Sting arrives here, and Arn Anderson was on the mic, and he apologizes Sting for being this close, as he didn't believe this is real. So so Anderson leaves. Tony Schiavone decided to leave too, but Sting stops him. So Sting says it has been so long since they have last met. So they share a hug, and Sting tells Schiavone to do his signature call. So Schiavone does it's Sting thing. So Cody and Sting started talking. So Cody thanks Sting for the assist last week, but he also wants to know what's the point here, what's the reason here. So Sting says that. Cody said that he has waited a long time to get inside the ring with Sting. So Sting says that he is in AEW. Sorry, he has signed with AEW and he is here to stay for a long time. So Sting then says that he will do business in his own way, like he will not take orders from someone else. So at the end, it was Sting. He also gave Cody a hug, saying that he will see him around. And one point that I forgot that he also pointed out to the crowd. Uh, there was Darby Allin sitting there saying that there is some similarities from the last time he was on TNT. So that was basically the entire segment here. And they kind of teased Cody Rhodes versus Sting in this segment.
Hmm.
So do you believe it's gonna happen?
I Yes, I think it is going to happen. That is also the fact that he called him kid. Sting called Cody kid at some point in this promo. So that also, his Cody's facial expressions and his body language changed, and it is looking like probably that in this feud or in this possible scenario that Cody will probably turn to the dark side, and it is very much easy when you are, competing against a legend like Sting, of course. And how will you know Darby Allin would be here in this scenario? We have to see. We have to wait and watch that. But right now, probably it is Cody versus Sting, and there is also a match booked Cody versus Shaq. If that is happening or not, that is also up in the air. We have to see. There are many things possible in the near future.
But did they give you a valid reason here on why we should get Cody versus Sting?
No, right now they are not. They are still, you can say, keeping the cards to themselves. They have a weekly television product to sell, so they are exposing, or they are revealing all the cards bit by bit to the fans. They are now luring them in, getting them invested that we have Sting, he is here now, he has signed a multi-year deal, and he is here to stay. He would be probably wrestling. That has gotten to the fans via the dirt sheets and news outlets. So now we have to see that who is he going to wrestle and what is going to be. And AW also got a great rating this week, nearly a million,
Yes.
959,000 in the United States, of course. So now it is building up to be quite a huge deal. So we have to wait and watch.
And you said that Cody has problems with quote unquote problems with now Sting and then Shaq. And does he is the team test problem settled or will it continue?
Mm, right now, they are also in the fray, of course. And with the promo we saw after this segment, that also gives a very good, you can say, direction as to what they are still in this dynamic, and they can, create some problems for Cody, for Sting, for Darby Allen also. So if there is a match happening between any of the two or three guys, they can, uh, you know, justify, you can say, affect the outcome very easily. So we would not be getting a probably fair outcome or a fair victor between any of the three if there is a match happening.
Speaking about Team Taz, they had a backstage segment. So Taz was mad that Sting got involved last week. So Ricky Starks then got on the mic. There was no mic, sorry. So he talked and he said that Taz's son Hook. So he has left the Nightmare Factory and will be training with Team Taz. So that was basically it. Um, we had Varsity Blondes versus FTR. So FTR are back on television after Full Gear, I think.
Yes.
So we had Pillman and Cash Wheeler starting as Wheeler was grounding Pillman. So tag to Harvard, he was continuing the assault. So we see double team. So they did a double team whip to Pillman, but Pillman hits a diving crossbody, taking out both men. Um, we see some kicks to both Wheeler and Harwood. So he tags in Garrison as they did some double team moves of their own. So Pillman was legal as he misses a crossbody here. So FTR were in control throughout the commercial break. So back from commercial, Garrison he's making a huge comeback. So a spear to Harwood gets a 2 count. So final parts of the match. So Harwood and Pillman, they are the both they are legal here. So a brainbuster to Pillman and the Goodnight Express gets them the win here. A short but sweet match here. Pillman and Garrison were made to look good. What did you think about this match?
Yes, it was a good match, and welcome back, FTR. Now they would be, you know, probably gunning for the tag team championship in the foreseeable future, not in the near future, of course. Now And with regards to the Varsity Blondes, yes, they had a great showing. They had a good showing with regards to what we know about them. We have only probably seen them on AEW Dark, and with regards to that, it was a good showing for them. FTR gave them everything that they should give them, obviously, and it was a good showing. And with regards to Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison giving them the name, the Varsity Blondes is an homage to the tag team of Stunning Steve Austin and Brian Pillman in WCW. That was the Hollywood Blondes from Texas. Hollywood Blondes from Texas. That was also very nice from WCW. And this was, as you said, FTR's first match back since their loss at Full Gear against the Young Bucks for the Tag Team Championship. And just for the fans who are listening and also watching this week, Brian Pillman Jr. has just become the new OVW heavyweight champion just a few days ago. So, congratulations to him. And
OVW.
with regards, yes, OVW heavyweight champion. And with regards to the match, FTR started the match looking angry and pissed. Of course, who wouldn't be? They lost to the fucking Young Bucks. And they took it right out of the gate to Pillman Jr. with their frequent tags and stiff offense. There was no need for the stiff offense, but they were so angry and pissed that they took it. They took it to the young boys. But it didn't last long as Pillman Jr. and Garrison came back with the offense of their own. FTR dominated the action as they should during the commercial break, as you said, isolating Pillman Jr., grounding him, pummeling him with the stiff offense. Griff Garrison looked great with the hot tag. He got the hot tag, and then he wiped out Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. In the end, Goodnight Express they did it for FTR. FTR won via pinfall.
So we had a little post-match segment too. So FTR had a little confrontation with Jurassic Express in the crowd. So that's their next program until they get to the Young Bucks.
Yes.
We had Alex Marvez interviewing Hangman Page in a bar. So we are informed that we'll be getting a
You always now are forgetting his moniker that you have, bestowed upon him. Captain No Charisma.
if someone can tell me how to get a copyright how to copyright Captain No Charisma, then I will use that name. Okay.
Okay.
So we are where was we? Alex Marvez was interviewing Hangman Page in a bar. We are informed that next week we'll be getting a six-man tag, Matt Hardy and Private Party versus Hangman Page. But Hangman Page has no partners here. So out comes John Silver and Alex Reynolds. So they volunteer to be Page's tag team partners next week, but Page isn't interested. So Silver and Reynolds plead a little. So Page finally agrees, but he says that it doesn't mean that he'll be joining the Dark Order.
For now. For
For
now,
now.
of course.
I think he'll
For
never
now.
join the Dark Order. Like he'll be the second Colt Cabana, an unofficial member.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Probably, or he can lead. He can lead for the time being. Then you can have a feud with Hangman Adam Page and Brody Lee for the leadership. Uh, that is for the writers to come about. How it happens, of course.
speaking about the Dark Order, so the Dark Order's 10 faced Dustin Rhodes. And tell us, Abby, what is the backstory of this match?
Uh, I don't have a fucking clue. The only thing I saw that was that Aaron Solo was defeated by Cody Vance, that is 10 of the Dark Order, on AEW Dark. So his distraction proved vital in Dustin getting a win over the Powerhouse 10. And Dustin using the technique or you should say, going as far as biting his opponent to get the victory, smells like that maybe he is ready to turn to the dark side. It seemed like that. It seemed like that. And we also saw Lee Johnson, who is the newest member of the Nightmare family, of course. He seemed a little scared or out of control, perhaps, of his mentor. He was trying to control him, he was trying to console him, but nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the referee was Aubrey Edwards for this match.
So
How
this
this came
match,
about, I'm no clue.
so this match here went about 4 minutes. They exchange some rights and go to the outside and fight all over ringside. So Dustin was back in. Aaron Solo took a shot at 10. Interesting fact here: Aaron Solo is the fiance of Bailey. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
So back to this match here. Dustin with a clothesline and a running bulldog, and that was it. A nothing match leading to a somewhat of an interesting post-match angle.
Mhm.
So post-match, what happened was Evil Ono got on the mic. He talks about Dustin and his legacy that has crossed 5 generations. But he said that he still is the third most important Rhodes in AEW. So Uno offers Dustin a place in the Dark Order as number 7. And I just learned here that 7 was actually the failed WCW gimmick of.
Yes, yes. Now I am, yeah,
Was it
agreed,
7 or
agreed.
97?
No, it was 7, yes. And then he cut a fucking shoot promo on that. Yes. Wow. Wow, man. Wow.
So,
It just hit me.
Uno raised his arm. So Dustin also did the same thing, but punched Uno in the face. So the Dark Order came to attack Dustin, but Uno stopped them. He said when Dustin realizes, and only then he'll come begging to us. So I will ask you again: will Dustin join the Dark Order?
Mm, the you can say whatever he showed in this match, that gives an indication that he may turn to the dark side. But the fact is that he would not need he would not need the Dark Order for this, because whatever is happening with regards to Cody and the other people of the Nightmare family, probably that Nightmare family would be turning to the dark side. So they would not need to join this group. We should not say the word cult, obviously, but nonetheless.
So from that, we get to Tony Schiavone. So he did a sit-down interview with Shaq. Brandy Rhodes was also there. I'm I'm getting to the good stuff here. So Brandy Rhodes was also there. She was in an arm sling due to what happened to her a couple of weeks back due to the attack from Jade Cargill. So Brandy was jealous here that Shaq got a big introduction and she got a tiny one. No surprise here. So
We are still talking about the introduction.
Shaq
Okay.
says he and Cargill go way back and expects big things from her, but he was not happy with what she did with Brandy. Brandy agreed and asked that they should end all of this. So Shivani throws the idea of settling this on a dynamite. Shaq loved that idea. He then talks about Cody saying that he has no problem with him and he was just messing with him on social media. So Brandy gets up and decides to leave. So Shaq commented that Brandy should take some lessons from Cargill. So Brandy got mad, takes Shivani's drink and splashes it on Shaq's face. And that was the end of the segment as Shaq gave a meme face. So basically, what I took from this segment here is that they are holding Cody versus Shaq for now, and the main focus is Jade Cargill and Brandy Rhodes.
Yes, agreed. Now, probably they are focusing on, and they should, as we have discussed, that Cody versus Sting and Cody versus Shaq. They are probably it was initially also in the plans that they would be doing Cody versus Shaq at Revolution, and Revolution is in February,
February.
fucking February. So it is a long way to go. So first you can, this feud between Jade and Brandy could be a catalyst for Cody versus Shaq. So right now Cody and Sting could be the thing that Cody focuses on.
We get to the inner circle ultimatum, and before we get through this segment, do you also feel that these inner circle segments sometimes gets a little the same, the same old every week or every 2 other weeks?
Yes, I would agree, but the thing is that it the basic selling point is probably only Chris Jericho and his sing along. That is the basic selling point which is to be done, and he's a legend. He draws ratings and he draws people in the crowd. That is the basic selling point, and getting Chris Jericho on television is a huge deal in whatever capacity that they are doing. It is obviously you can say a development of their storyline, which is involving Chris Jericho and MJF, which are the centerpieces around which this whole thing is happening. So we have to, it is prolonging now. It is in the stage that it has to prolong, and then it will burst. So we have to just, I guess, wait and watch perhaps what is now going to happen with regards to it. Yes, it is the same people, and how to make it interesting, that is with the people and the writers. But these people, if they are in it itself entertaining, they are in itself saying interesting shit, they can make people laugh or whatever. So that also sometimes passes off as it is good, it is decent with regards to the fans. But yes, sometimes they do this shit, that getting Eric Bischoff, getting a round table conference sometimes. But yes, what you are saying, I sort of agree, obviously.
So everyone is here for except Santana. Any word on Santana where he is? At last I heard is he's dealing with some personal problems or something.
Okay. I also didn't have any clue with regards to that where is he?
So Jericho tells that this ultimatum is done to settle all differences in the inner circle. So MJF takes the mic. He says he loves everyone in the group, and he denies the fact that he's in the group to just break it. Um, so Guara had heard enough of MJF bullshit, and then MJF and Guara started having an argument. Jericho became the peacemaker here. So Jericho recalls the towel incident from last week, where um uh, in that what match was Kazarian versus Jericho match.
Yes.
Yes. So MJF says that he brought the towel just to swipe the sweat from his eyebrows. So Otis jumps in. He gives his thoughts on MJF, saying he's a great talent but not a great human being. He's cool with Wardlow though. Then he tells Sammy Guevara to be the better man and shake MJF's hand. So Guevara then hesitates a bit and finally shakes the hand of MJF. He then tells Jericho that if any more nonsense happens, then he will quit the inner circle, and he's serious about it. MJF then starts talking about Orange Cassidy again. So all of a sudden, Hager and Wardlow started arguing with each other as both men have problems with the other guy staring at him. So Jericho, listen to what Jericho said. Jericho gave a simple advice here: just stop staring. So then all of
Simple.
them put up their middle fingers, and that was it. Basically, now Guara is in with MJF, at least for now. Maybe we get
Yes,
the breakup in the next month or so.
probably. Probably. And uh, what else we had to transpired here was basically that all issues are basically resolved on paper. Sammy Guevara gave his ultimatum that if anything, in the worst happens to me, that is, if I get a loss or if something to the worst happens to me, I will quit this group. And Hager and Wardlow mutually decide to not stare at each other, of course. There is also a thing with regards to Don Callis. Now, Don Callis coming to the fray here is also a huge thing, that this thing that we are thinking about, that inner circle is breaking up. So right now, if Don Callis is not here, and then I would think that inner circle, which is the top faction of this promotion, would not be breaking up, because it is one of the hottest acts of this promotion, of course, and it would not be breaking up. They could kick out one or two members or one member. That could be Sammy Guevara, as he's a great talent, and then he would you know grow as a individual competitor. He's a great talent, aerial maneuvers and athleticism, of course. But Don Callis coming into fray, he is a great, friend, mentor of Chris Jericho. So there could be something brewing with Chris Jericho and uh, Don Callis, and he has Kenny Omega too. They are from the same place, Canada, Winnipeg. So there could be something that could be happening. He has name dropped Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho quite sometimes. That so maybe there could be something that uh, could happen. And right now, what I'm thinking, the best case scenario would be for the inner circle, if they want their faction to be a heel faction, that is a heel faction which is to be hated, then they should kick out Chris Jericho, because he is getting babyface reactions. And MJF should be heading this faction because he's a heel, of course. And that could be better for his career also, that he is heading a top faction of a promotion. That is, of course, All Elite Wrestling. And then Chris Jericho could be a baby face, and then he can go against MJF and the stuff. So there are many, possibilities. And then when he is a baby face, then problem with regards to Don Callis, then you can probably see Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho when Chris Jericho is a baby face. This would be a complete role reversal from what we saw in Japan. So it could happen. I In this scenario, Chris Jericho would not be joining Don Callis per se. It would be on the opposite side and also out of the inner circle. So there is a huge possibility of what can and cannot happen. So interesting, of course.
So Alex Marvez was interviewing FTR yet. So Wheeler was blaming himself for being cocky and costing themselves the titles. So Tully Blanchard responds saying that they also lost because he was not there. Then they talk about Jungle Boy and made fun of him for being for doing flips in last week's Battle Royal. So
Well, he has a point, obviously. If the point is to throw over the top rope, why the fuck are you doing flips from the top rope? It is very easy to just push you out, and you are out, and you are eliminated. Only a sick, twisted, inexperienced guy would do such kind of shit. But it is what it is.
they also said their goal is to regain the tag team titles, and they said fear the revelation. So mostly this rematch happens at Revolution. We have at least 2 months from Revolution. Maybe the Young Bucks they can put over the Acclaimed and uh, go through another tag team until they finally meet FTR at Revolution.
Hmm. Yes.
So next we had a six-man tag: Lucha Bros and Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston, Butcher and Blade. So a brawl broke as Archer dove over Kingston and his family. So everyone is brawling here to the outside. Butcher slams Menta on the ringside table. So he's out as we get a 2-on-3 situation. Finally, match begins. Archer has Kingston in the corner. He tags in Phoenix as Butcher takes out Phoenix with a running crossbody. So tag to Blade as he continues the assault. So Phoenix fights back, gets taken down. So Kingston gets the tag. Um, as the heel team here is in full control. So the bunny got a cheap shot. Um, Kingston was going for a Saito suplex, but Phoenix blocks and hits a handspring cutter. So tag made to Archer. He runs wild. Uh, he and Butcher had some exchanges. Archer with corner elbows to both Butcher and Blade. So Archer was going for his old school, but he was going for the old school on Blade, but the Butcher knocks him down. So Blade then clips Archer's knee. Now everyone is targeting Lance Archer's injured knee here. Um, Archer somehow made the hot tag to Phoenix. Quick offense on the heel team. Phoenix with a dive on Kingston. Back in, Blade and Butcher hit a neckbreaker powerbomb combo for the win, and that was it. Um, it was nothing, a decent match. The heel team, that is Eddie Kingston and his family, are building up momentum after this win. And the one thing I didn't like is that Lance Archer was made to look a little vulnerable, but the post match angle saved him. What did you think about this?
I didn't enjoy this match, basically. It looked fucking chaotic, to be very honest. And probably the commentary team also said once or twice, or probably thrice, to, cover up for Lance Archer by saying that it is his first outing in a tag team match. So they were covering for Lance Archer. It looked fucking chaotic. It didn't look as it should look. Going smoothly, a tag match. The things you said, injuring Lance Archer's knee. I didn't catch any of that. It looked fucking chaotic, basically. I didn't like this match at all. First, Penta's injury. Penta got injured via suplex throw prior to the bell through the table by the Butcher.
Butcher.
It turned into a handicap match. So that injury, I also thought that it might be legit. It looked like that. The people, the officials, how they were taking him, and he was also, probably screaming at one point. It looked legit, and I don't know if it was or not. Uh, so, and they said it Archer's first tag match in AEW. So it was fucking chaotic. And other things that I have written with regards to the match was that Eddie's team uh, took advantage of the numbers game throughout the match via controlling majority of the action and in the end winning the bout. It didn't flow as smoothly. It looked chaotic, and the numbers game, the heel team won because they had the numbers. Basically, that was it, and the referee was Aubrey Edwards.
It was not supposed to be a competitive match only for storyline purpose.
Mhm. Probably the purpose is probably to gain sympathy for the babyface team so that people get invested in them. People get invested in the Lucha Bros, the Lance Archer, because Lance Archer was previously a monster heel. Now he's a baby face. So we should get invested in him as a baby face, give him sympathy, and then they he would get a win and we would pop for him that yes, Lance Archer won. Probably that is the thinking.
I think Lance Archer is a twinner right now. Just because he has problem with Eddie Kingston, he's
Mhm.
aligning himself with the babyface team, and then he can go do his stuff, be a heel. I mostly prefer him as a heel than a babyface.
Yeah, we have seen him as a heel, so we are you can say preferring him as a heel. He could be a badass babyface also. We do not want him or Jake Roberts cutting babyface promos, of course, but he could be a badass heel. We haven't seen such characters much in recent wrestling, of course. So that could be a huge change, of course, a different sort of a scenario in wrestling.
We had a backstage segment here, Nyla Rose and Jade Cargill. So they were attacking Red Velvet here. So Rose was about to crush Red Velvet's arm with a steel chair until Serena Deeb and Big Swole came out for the save. Evilise and Diamante also showed up as we had a little confrontation.
What do we have to say? And there is a, I guess, six women tag booked for next week.
No, 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 no. It's actually Diamante and Evilise against Swole and Deeb.
Okay, okay. A traditional tag match. Okay. And they don't even fucking, acknowledge that it is the NWA Women's Champion. They don't even say that. That fucking, it sometimes pisses me off, but nonetheless, it is not their promotion, so they do not even give a flying fuck about that. At least, acknowledge that she is the NWA Women's Champion, nonetheless.
Maybe we finally see my prediction booking coming true. Nyla Rose challenging Serena Deeb for the championship.
Probably it would be great, and I don't think that what would happen in that match. Will they let Nyla Rose lose to Serena Deeb? That uh, is a big question mark in my opinion. I don't think so at this point.
So let's talk about the women's division here in AEW. We had Abadon versus Tesha Price. So they showed some highlights of Abadon's last interaction with Hikaru Shida. So the match here went about a minute, a glorified squash match. So Abadon with a clothesline, Tesha with some rights, but Abadon no sells it. Abadon with a STO. She hits a gory bomb neck breaker for the win, and that was it. A squash match that was perfect for Abadon's first big win on Dynamite.
Absolutely, I would agree.
And
And
I also said last week that
yes,
Abadon has a great character, but she's not someone that should be going a 10-minute, 8-minute match because that will show her that she's a little green in the ring.
uh, right now we have not seen probably in long matches. At least I have not seen her. Right now, with this match, with her character, it was perfect. That you have to give only that much. That she's a scary character and she no sells, or we should use a better term. It didn't affect. She didn't get damage from the offense of the competitor of the opponent, Tesha Price, and she, just like now there is an character. There is a character called Su Young in Impact Wrestling. She is also not one of the best technicians, but her character is so compelling that you can give the match 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, probably 10. The basic, you know, purpose is to get the match going. That could also be the job of the other person also. That is, it takes two to tango. So it is not that one person is the character who lures the mainstream audience or the audience to the match through the story, through the character, through how she or he looks, and the other person might be the technician, that who will, sell it and make it look good in the match at the point, real time. So then it meshes and it looks good. That would be the thing which would happen with regards to the AW Women's Championship match in the future. Shida versus Abadon, probably.
So post-match, Abadon continued her attack on Price until Shida came out. She had a kendo stick in her hand, so she was still intimidated, but finally entered the ring and swings the kendo stick at Abadon's head. So Shida checks on Price, but Abadon gets back up very Undertaker-esque, and Shida leaves. And I wrote here, this reminds me of the Fiend and Seth Rollins storyline where Rollins was made to look like a page.
Hmm. This is basically selling her character right now, that she is like that. She is, you know, creepy, or she doesn't get damage, and she is that, you know, fucking mysterious character. And I have said in the past that it such character are, selling throughout these promotions, whether it's Alexa Bliss in WWE, whether it's Su Young and Susie on Impact Wrestling, whether it's now Abadon on AEW. They are trying because it is selling to the fans. So they are trying their best. And if Aberdeen gets the championship, I would not be surprised. I am just saying, people would be pissed, absolutely, because AEW fans are, prone to, not getting pissed, of course, to, and today's fans also are, prone to see women who can, who are technicians, who are great wrestlers, but not characters like Undertaker and Su Young and other people. But, you know, they have their own drawing power. They are draws in other ways, which draws the mainstream audience also. So it works also. There are different characters, different women, different men and women who are in wrestling, in sports and entertainment to do this shit, which draws the audience, which makes up for interesting stories down the line. And one more thing, we should call the stick which Hikaru Shida carries the Singapore cane because she's from Asia, not the kendo stick.
Okay, it's a Singapore can.
Yes.
And to your point here, if you said certain characters are draw in their own way, if for
Yes.
example Abadon is a draw, then why would she need a championship?
No, she would become a draw now. Now they would give her the championship, and then it would she would be a regular on television, possibly her promos or her matches, stuff like that, and she would be a regular on television. Then she would become a draw. That is her character, her persona has the potential to become a big draw. That is and she looks the part also that she can be, because I have uh, heard from people also that she is like that she looks so scary. She is she is that. I have not seen any uh, in the past. We have not seen any of such characters, a woman character also, anytime. So there is something to grab upon. So probably. And Hikaru Shida has had, I guess, a long, lengthy title reign. So probably.
So next we had Kenny Omega. So he had a little announcement. So on Impact, this guy came on a bus. On Dynamite, he came on a helicopter. So Don
Yes.
Callis was with him. So Alex Marvez was trying to interview him, but they told him that they will do the talking in the ring. So Tony Schiavone was there to interview them. He says he was disgusted by their actions. Callis got the mic. He cut the same promo here that they cut on him. Copy paste. So he said that he has known Omega for years. He talks about Tony Khan being upset, and he, he commented on that and said, "Welcome to the wrestling business, kid." Uh,
That popped me.
so Callis said it was the biggest screw job since Montreal. Callis and Omega take credit for the birth of AEW, as Callis reminded us as that he booked Omega versus Jericho at the Tokyo Dome 2 years ago. He then takes credit for bringing the old Kenny Omega. So Omega on the mic, he said that this has been planned for years, and now he holds the most prestigious championship in all of wrestling. Um, he, so what was I saying? So he then talks about the match with Moxley, saying no one kicks out of the one-winged angel. So Callis told him to do it. Then Omega does the goodbye, good night deal, and that was it. Just like I said, this was the same promo, exact promo from Impact, but this pairing, this Don Callis Kenny Omega pairing is great. Like this, Don Callis completes a heel Kenny Omega, and the about the Impact segment. Now, before the Impact segment, so I think what I saw in that segment, it proves that this Impact AEW partnership is going to be a long-term deal. And one example is that they teased Omega versus Rich Swan match, where mostly Kenny Omega will be winning the Impact World Championship. Some good stuff here.
Hmm. Yes. I agree that first of all, it was a copy paste here on AW. and the fact that it would be a long-term deal between AEW and Impact Wrestling. Yes, I agree with that. And there were many things that were teased in the Impact promo, which happened at Impact Wrestling, which was around 11 minutes. Here on AW, with regards to time constraints, and also that it was not, you know, placed on the main event rather than it was pre-main event, that could be one of the hindrances, that it was just a briefing of what was at Impact. And the fact that you said with regards to Don Callis and Kenny Omega pairing, it is great because it is legit. Of course, it's a shoot. It is not, something that they are doing out of the blue. It is real. It is great. Don Callis can do the talking. Kenny Omega sometimes doesn't, come off as very good on the microphone. So Don Callis can do that, and he can do it great. He is great at what he does, and it also translates to the partnership of Impact and AW. And you would recall, and now I would like to go to the Impact Wrestling segment, which happened in the RV. First thing that Don Callis said, he said that Kenny Omega here is the real world champion, and the real world champion is said about Nick Aldis, who is the NWA world champion. So that could be a possible hint that Nick Aldis and Kenny Omega could possibly happen sometime in the future.
And
Impact Wrestling,
wins the NWA World Championship.
probably. Nick Aldis has had also, just like Hikaru Shida, a lengthy title run with the 10 pounds of gold.
If
So it can possibly happen
if Omega
sometime
wins
in the.
if Omega wins the NWA Championship, then Jim Cornette will have a heart attack. Guaranteed.
You would, but the fact is, I also would like to say that Impact Wrestling and NWA haven't been on a great, you can say friendship, or on great relations, of course, because of the history with Billy Corrigan and Impact Wrestling. But if AW, builds the bridges between Impact Wrestling and NWA, then it could possibly happen, of course. And then, secondly, we saw the homage to Okada in the match between John Moxley and Kenny Omega. So he possibly is indicating towards Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada sometime in the future. And this year's Wrestle Kingdom, we could see some announcement, some pre-taped announcement, or some video clipping, or something like that airing on the show.
Should I clear that doubt? That
Yes, of
exact point.
course.
Do you know who's the best friend of Kenny Omega in New Japan?
Uh, Kota Ibushi.
Kota Ibushi, right? He's in the main event. Imagine if he wins the championship, both the Intercontinental and the World
Oh,
Championship. And in the main event,
mm.
Omega comes out. Basically, Omega will be a belt collector for the next 3 months.
And that is basically what they also teased, that he's a belt collector. He would be the belt collector, possibly going everywhere, and that he would be, exploring the territories, of course. And also, one more thing which hit my mind was that when John Moxley versus Kenny Omega was, being scheduled to happen, when it was the contract signing segments, Kenny Omega was saying that this match would, uh, you know, give you the thing that who is the best in the world. And recently, we have got to know that there was an interview, of course, the a podcast oral sessions with Rene Paquette, CM Punk came there, and he said that I am very much interested in AEW because working in AEW because there is no or little baggage in comparison to WWE, and I do not want a one-off. I want a lengthy, stay at least 5 years. So here in this scenario, CM Punk could also be there in this whole scenario with regards to Kenny Omega and Don Callis. So
But
there are
CM
many
Punk,
people.
but CM Punk also said that he needs a fat paycheck,
Yes,
fat paycheck.
yes, fat paycheck, and Tony Khan would possibly, hand that to him wholeheartedly, only if the meeting is not in a coffee house. And Cody is far, far away from that meeting.
Oh, he does have some heat with him, right?
Yes, of course.
So let's get to this main event here. It was for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, Orange Cassidy versus MJF.
With
So,
the inner circle.
so Cassidy was accompanied by best friends, while MJF was accompanied by the entire inner circle. So MJF jumps Cassidy from the get-go, and he breaks Cassidy's sunglasses. MJF then a couple of suplexes and chokes Cassidy with his own T-shirt. MJF with another suplex, but Cassidy counters into a stun dog millionaire. So both men were on the apron. Cassidy went for the orange punch, but accidentally hits the ring post. MJF then puts Cassidy arms in his pockets and power bombs him on the apron. MJF then starts bending Cassidy's fingers into the turnbuckle rod. Back in MJF continues the assault as he was targeting Cassidy's injured hand. So Cassidy trips MJF in the corner. Cassidy tried to build some momentum, but MJF puts him down. Cassidy to the outside as the inner circle with the beatdown. So best friends try to save, but they were outnumbered. So Trent heads to the back and gets some backup as we had the Varsity Blondes, Top Flight, and Brandon Cutler to cheer Cassidy. So MJF mocks Cassidy as Cassidy gets mad and gets some offense as he sent MJF to DDT City. So we saw the swinging DDT and the diving DDT. So this gets a 2 count. A Tiger Driver for another 2. So MJF to the outside. Cassidy with a springboard dive taking out everyone in the inner circle. So at one point, Jericho tosses the bag to MJF, but MJF pulls a Eddie Guerrero spot here as Cassidy had the bag. So Cassidy hands in his pocket and he does a Eddie Guerrero spot of his own. So in all this melee, Cassidy hits the beach break for a 2 count. MJ went for the salt of the earth. MJ went for the salt of the earth submission. Cassidy escapes. MJ breaks the fingers. Cassidy with the orange punch. With the bad hand, this gets a 2 count. He went for a second orange punch. Went for the pin, but Wardo gets MJF legs on the ropes. Then we get a big brawl on the outside. So referee is distracted. Miro shows up. He clothesline Cassidy. MJF crawls to Cassidy and he gets the win. This was actually a good match. I thought that Cassidy was actually going to win the ring, like I predicted last week. They should have given him the ring. He could have done something different. But of course, Miro was the X factor. And what did you think about this match?
I also thought that probably, as you said, that Orange Cassidy would be winning the ring, but MJF retaining also gives us, no qualms, as it gave the platform to Miro, just wiping out everybody and looking like a monster at the end of the show, standing tall on the stage. That gave everything that we probably many of the fans wanted, that a strong monster type heel uh, in Miro, and not pussy pants who is a gamer. And you know uh, fucking wardrobe malfunction bullshit, basically. So, and you were not invested also in Miro. You have said it multiple times in the past that you were not invested in his character.
This dynamic, let me rephrase that dynamic with Sabian. But the Miro
Yes.
character for the last 2 weeks, they have made some effort to make him strong. Like the Battle Royale, he looked like a monster. He also looked
Hmm.
great here.
Yes. Now he is looking great, and uh, obviously Tony Khan also said it in his one of his interviews that WWE booked him like shit, and we said it in the last review that WWE booked like shit in the last days, even when he was getting great reactions with the Rusev Day and his whole gimmick. But now probably better things are in the future for Miro. And with regards to the match, it was a great uh, competitive match, as it should be in the main event. MJF and Orange Cassidy were given the main event booking, main event billing, so they obviously should have brought it, and they did. Referee was Bryce Remsburg. MJF only has one loss, that was to John Moxley, then world champion. Jericho has lost to Orange Cassidy 2 times. So that also could play a role between the dynamic of Chris Jericho and now MJF. Now MJF has now beaten Orange Cassidy, while Jericho has now lost to Cassidy at least 2 times. And as you have just run down, that Cassidy missing his orange punch and hitting the ring post was the biggest point, as MJF smelled blood in the water and started attacking his hands and fingers, which would have affected his routine offense and his finisher. MJF's mean streak was on full display. The flatliner, joint manipulation, attacking the arm. Brilliant work. Brilliant work for a heel, that is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Then the lower tier baby faces thronged at ringside in the midst of the break on the side of Cassidy to even the odds against the inner circle. I'm sorry to use the words lower tier baby faces, but it is what it is. It sort of then looked like a lumberjack match, and at the end, MJF got the victory as Miro decked Cassidy at the end for MJF. Miro and Sabian have been at odds with the best friends with Orange Cassidy for weeks now. So it seemed apropos that MJF got the victory via Miro hitting Orange Cassidy. It was not out of the blue. It didn't look like some shitty finishes happening. It was appropriate. Miro stood tall at the stage. After all the carnage that happened, he attacked officials, he attacked everybody. Fucking insane, like a fucking tank, which he rode on against, you know, John Cena for getting buried as Dynamite went off the air.
So, like you said on the beginning, it was a step down from compared to what they presented last week for Winter is Coming. But nonetheless, it was a good show.
Yes, I would agree. Absolutely.
So before we leave, where can these guys find you?
Guys, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Abimaniac, ABBYMANIAC. And I am currently working with an independent wrestling promotion in India called Wrestle Square as a commentator and as a on-screen authority figure. You can subscribe to their YouTube channel at Wrestle Square Pro Wrestling, and you can also follow them on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestle Square.
You can find Slamhub Wrestling on Twitter at SlamhubW, Instagram at Slamhub Wrestling, our podcast. Now that we are doing our video debut, if you are not interested in the YouTube videos, then you can catch Slamhub Wrestling on the audio platforms just like Spotify and Anchor. And this was the AEW Dynamite review, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.